All right, it's that time again, and I'm thinking 5 more of my favorite items. Let's get to it. About a month ago, we did a video on my top 5 favorite items, and I mentioned there's several more. So on this video here, I want to go ahead and focus on 5 more items that are rarely seen. So let's get to it. Now, before we get too far down the trail, I'll go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Yes, it's Sunday, and no, there's no overnighter. We mentioned a couple months ago that we would do maybe 1 to 2, most likely 2 a month, and I would crunch the numbers. And here's the result of the past, I want to say, 2.5 months of doing that. Nothing's changed. So that tells me it's not going to change. Now, as a direct result of that, myself and several other YouTubers are now forced to go about earning income different ways, meaning more revenue streams, making products, selling products, working a job, picking up a part-time job. So in order for me to continue my channel, I have to work full-time in my forge. So I'm swapping one for the other. Right now I'm currently working on my skillets. Tentatively, we're looking at dropping those skillets around beginning of October, somewhere in there. If things work out, maybe late September. There's a few design changes that I thought about, and it simplifies the process towards more like an assembly line. I can just do all of this and all of this and all of this and all of this, and then it equals this. And there's also going to be different types of steel involved. So it's evolved from what I wanted, but it's evolved for the better and simpler. And that's the whole key thing with evolving. If you're going to say it's evolution and we're evolving and it's 10 times harder, then it didn't evolve, it regressed. So the process I came up with in the beginning was doable. Now it's 100% simplified, and it's just going to go right here, boom, 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 final product. So I can just get them out the door. So I'm currently working on that right now. I'm in there probably, honestly, 40 to 50 hours a week, and I don't have time to spend another 40 hours trying to film overnighters and hope they get watched. So once we get the skillets out the door, it'll free me up, and then we can focus back on the overnighters. Because believe me, I have, I want to say 4 or 5 right now that I'm going to do once we hit fall and it cools down. Get the last part of the fishing for the season, and we're going to allude to some of that in upcoming videos. I'm going to show you a lot more kits. We have a bug out bag kit, fishing kits, things like that. Another military kit coming, and we'll sleep or do overnighters with all that gear. So just bear with me, we'll get to it. Now, without further ado, my top 5 items that are rarely seen. And we're going to kick it off with my wristwatch. I want to say it was late fall 1995. I arrived in San Diego, California at Camp Pendleton area for the School of Infantry. After I was assigned the barracks, I was walking through the parking lot, and I saw a truck back out. I moved out of the way, it backed out and took off. I just happened to glance down, and I saw a watch sitting there. The truck ran this watch over. And I was like, whoa, okay. Picked it up, being honest, looked around, there was nobody there. I thought, well, you know, maybe somebody will come looking for it later. Put it in my cargo pocket, went in, reported in, got into the squad bay, and got the rack made and gear stored. Still nobody said anything. The weekend went by, and I thought, well, you know, gear adrift is a gift. This watch right here has been on several deployments, been all over the world, to hell and back, and it still works. Now, let's be honest, I've had to replace parts on here, and I'm 100% ghetto. And yes, that right there is a black hair tie. 1995, we're talking 29 years. I've replaced the bands probably about 3 or 4 times. The rubber washer on the inside of the watch has been replaced, I think, twice. And I have an entire bag full of parts at my house. These are difficult to come by. To find one that actually works, keeps time, you're looking at $300 to $400 nowadays off of eBay and dealers and things like that. It's a coveted design. I'll never part with this, and they're going to bury my ass or burn me up with it. It's very sentimental to me, but a lot of people have asked me over the years, what kind of watch is that? You're a G-Shock fan. So yeah, I am. And that's the model. Once again, that's the DW6800. And like I said, the past 30 years, it's been to hell and back. And I'm 47 years old. So more great things to come and more adventures to be had. Now real quick before we move into the boots, about the G-Shock, someone's going to say, you should have a watch with hands on it, that way you can get direction. Well, here's the thing, you're only going to get cardinal direction, north, east, south, and west with that, and I've never been in a situation in 14 or 15 years where I had to solely rely on just finding a direction, and there's several other ways that you can actually do that, and I always carry a compass, and I've never lost my compass. So we can play what-if games all day, but there's reality, and then there's fantasy. So I'm sticking with what works, and with something that I've had for 30 plus years. Next on our list, we have the Belleville 590 U.S. Marine Corps Hot Weather Boot. These bad boys right here, I want to say around 2000, 2001. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. We switched from, we meaning the Marine Corps, switched from the black jungle boots that required black polish and spit shines everywhere, all over town, to these bad boys right here. And in my opinion, it was all for the better. This is one case for me where I'm going to openly admit that, yes, evolution was a good thing. And here's why. It's less work. And in my opinion, it's a lot better boot. The problem we had with the jungle boots was right along the back heel here, as well as the front. After about 3 to 4 months, it would start ripping away, and you had to get glue for them and all kinds of crap, and you're out of pocket $150, and it was just ridiculous. Also, the treads in the bottom were really deep, and you try to walk, you get mud all caked in them and stuff, and running on them was a bitch. Excuse my language. These Vibram soles on here, in my opinion, cushion your feet a lot better. There's a break-in time. You're going to get some blisters, maybe, but once you break these things in, they form to your feet, and you're golden. We got 2 drain holes located right here, and they do work. The best part is you can pull out the sole and replace them with whatever ones you like. So as far as I'm concerned, it's an overall good boot. And with me being in the woods every week, putting miles on them, just walking around, I want to say they last for me every 18 months or so. Downside, they're about $180-ish, depending on where you buy them from. If you know somebody in the military, you get that discount, get them from the PX, tax-free. Another good feature on here is you have the speed laces. Once you lace your boots up, put a small knot right here in the lace so it can't fall back out. And then you simply just yank them up, and it speed laces the whole thing, tie them off, and you're done. I've been asked about this over the years, time and time again, so here you go. The Belleville 590 Hot Weather Boots. Lastly, people ask me, the 550s or 590. 590 is right here. 550 is the exact same boot, but there's a steel toe on the inside. Here's my take on that. Unless you're on a construction site, why do you want steel toes? People say, oh, well, a branch could hit your foot or a rock. Again, fantasy or reality. You're probably not going to have tree branches just falling down everywhere, landing on your feet. Think about this also. It's heavier. If you had to run somewhere or walk over long distances, your foot might rub on that. I've had boots doing just construction work that start wearing through and the steel toe starts showing now. It just rips right through there. So there's ups and downs to them, but my opinion is steel toe is a safety issue and it belongs on a job site. Moving right along, we have pocket knives. Now, one you've seen several times and one you've rarely seen. Let's start off with the one that you've seen a million times, and that is the Ranger Grip 79 from Victorinox. Real quick history on this. I started off with a Swiss Army knife one-handed trekker, and I loved it. It was a little bit smaller than this one, probably about 2/3 the size, and I had no complaints. Well, as time progressed, Swiss Army knife went ahead and did away with that model. The reason why they did away with it, they brought this one in. Slightly larger, bigger blade. It includes a saw. We have the classic screwdriver slash bottle opener. Smaller screwdriver here. Another bottle opener right there, along with the can opener. The back we have the Phillips screwdriver and our infamous, which means more than famous, awl. Now let's once again go to the reality and fantasy. I've seen those Firefly mini ferro rod strikers, and I guess it takes the place of one of these, either your tweezers or your toothpick, and you can pull it out of there. It's about that long. You're trying to, get little baby sparks off of it. Does it work? Yes, it works. In my opinion, is it a gimmick? I'm going to say yes. I've broken probably 10 of those just practicing, and I'm sure you have too. Is it an option or a viable option? There's a difference. An option, yes. Does it work, 10% of the time? You could say it works. Is it viable? Is it empirical, meaning the same results are produced every single time? I'm going to say no. But to each their own. Now, like I already mentioned, this has been in several videos. From years back. I prefer the red color. They're black as well as OD green. Out here, if I drop it in all this greenery, I can look down and see it, pick it right up. It's stainless steel. The best thing about this is the saw, and here's why. I'm a firm believer in simplicity, and if you're doing any type of bush crafting or you're forced to in a survival situation, you have no need to cut anything larger than 2 inches in diameter as far as saplings go to make a structure or to make a bed. And this saw right here will facilitate that. It will make every type of trap that you need, and in my opinion, unless you're full-on bush crafting, there's no need to carry anything else. So a good backup knife should always be a good pocket knife. And on that pocket knife, you should have some type of saw. Next pocket knife is rarely seen. I've shown it over the years probably less than 6 times, and it's usually with some type of military kit. And this is the Camillus 1967 stainless steel demo knife. Now, I want to say before Camillus it was Kingston, and they made demo knives like this for the military. And they had one for the Marine Corps, and it said United States Marine Corps right here on the front of it. But the only thing that was stainless steel was the outer shell. The blade and everything inside here was carbon steel, so it was prone to rust. And I believe that was Kingston. Once again, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, I want to say 1949-ish, somewhere in there, after World War II, Camillus either bought them out or bought this design and started producing them along with K-bars and everything else for the military, but started producing these pocket knives. And legend has it that these are called demo knives because they came with a demolition set, and each branch of the service had them. And the theory was these are stainless steel and they're not magnetic, therefore you can disarm mines and they won't go off. Most mines back then were something, magnetic. Steel would go by like a truck, it would jump out of the ground and explode. So, or you run over it and there it is, boom. Or it flips onto the vehicle, boom. So that was the theory behind this, and that's the legend that I've always been told. So they call it a demo knife. And to my knowledge, they produced these for the military, and each one had their own: Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force. And I think it was till the mid to late 90s when they stopped doing it. And then they went ahead and made it civilian use, and there's plenty of copies on the market. But you can always tell a real one because when you open the blade up, it will give the year and say Camillus at the base of that blade. Every once in a while I take this thing out and knock the dust off, but I prefer the Ranger Grip 79 first time every time due to the options that it gives me for what I need to do or what my intent is out in the woods. So this one here has found its permanent place in my miniature fishing kit, and that's going to be a midweek video next week, so look forward to that. The number one thing I've always excluded from my kits, for the obvious reason, is a first aid kit. And that obvious reason is most first aid kits are 90% Band-Aids. I've seen dust masks in there. I've seen gloves. I've seen, the COVID masks and all kinds of stuff in there. And I'm like, this does not apply to something that's real life, like lacerations and, where's the quick clot? I've cut an artery. Where's the tourniquet? Those are hard to come by. There's a couple companies that I'm dealing with right now. One just sent me theirs. It's a veteran-owned company, and I'll be reviewing that first aid kit in the future, so I don't want to spoil anything right now. But I have carried these for about 7 or 8 weeks. The company's name is Senvok, and there's a lot of other companies that do the exact same thing. And they call this a wound closure device. Basically what it is a butterfly bandage with zip ties that are meant to grab one side of that wound and pull it closed and lock it in place. That way it's not going to open. So think of it as an improvised suture. That's the number one thing I always see people over the years. Well, I need to get a suture kit. My first question is, do you know how to suture? They say, well, no, but it's better than nothing. Well, actually, it would be better than nothing, because if you don't know how to suture wounds, you don't sew the top. You go from the underside or the bottom side up. And if you don't know what you're doing or have a curved needle and it's disinfected, all you're doing is introducing bacteria into that, causing further damage. And if you're just sewing the top closed, it's still going to bleed, or the blood's going to be stuck under the skin and cause harm. So instead of going out and trying to learn how to suture, in my opinion, this could be the next best thing. And lastly is my pride and joy. I'm lucky to live in a state where I can open carry, but I have multiple properties, one that's mine, and 2 others where the owner's completely fine with me doing basically whatever I want and carrying whatever I want. So I choose to carry something from the past, and that is an 1858 .44 caliber Remington. Now we're going to limit the actual exposure of this firearm because YouTube can't handle it. They don't understand the difference between just showing something or actually teaching it militia tactics, and they tend to write their own rules as they go. And what's good for some aren't good for others, and we'll leave it at that. Now, I choose this firearm because it's almost identical to the 1861 New Army Colt. And if you trace things back to where you can reload magazines, these 2 firearms were it. It's 44 caliber black powder pistols back then. But they gave you the option of making them quick loading or reloading. Think of a Glock or a 9mm. Bang, 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 bang. You're out of ammo. You can drop that magazine, slam a new one in, click it, and you're ready to go. This is basically the same thing. They came up with a way to remove cylinders or swap out a cylinder. If you're under fire, swap it out within seconds, put a new loaded cylinder inside, and you're back in the fight. As I mentioned, they were black powder pistols. Over time, they had a conversion cylinder, and that's what I have right here. It takes a 44 caliber ball, or the conical balls, black powder, to a 45 caliber long Colt, or Colt. And in my opinion, that technology right there is what gave birth to what we have nowadays. Being in a firefight, being able to drop, take a knee, hide behind a tree, reload within seconds, and be back in the fight. What we're going to do here is we're going to quarter cock this. We're going to drop that, pull our pin, and remove the cylinder. Swap it out, put it back in there, lock it in place, slam that home, replace your hammer. So here's one example of a conversion cylinder. Normally, black powder goes inside here, and you ram the ball or conical ball home. Sits about flush like that, and you put a cap on the back. Hammer hits the cap, ignition, boom, 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 and it goes out. Okay. So what they've done, they've sawed this end off and replaced it with this deal right here. You have your firing pins. The hammer will make contact with one of these. It's going to hit the primer of your 45 caliber long Colt. load them up, replace it, and you're ready to go. And yes, I'm fully prepared for this video to be demonetized or removed at some point. Once that occurs, I'll let you know. And I'll be like, what took you so long? All right, on a different note, something else I'm involved in. I've been talking about it week after week after week, and some of you taking advantage of it. Survival Mastery is my other pride and joy. It's another company I'm working with. I'm a 1099 contractor, and I have several revenue streams, and I work for them doing consulting. And we have started a YouTube channel, Survival Mastery Online. Go over there, check it out. If you're a subscriber of mine, get involved in that. Right now you're getting video teasers, you're getting tips and tricks. Right now we've dumped 2 or 3 Meet the Trainer videos on there where you're going to see who's actually going to be doing the actual videos, the presenters or the trainers. We also going to have short segments or clips in the form of shorts we posted there as well. And it's free. Survival Mastery Online on YouTube. That link is inside the video description box. Check it out. Now, while you're there, right beneath that, you're going to see Survival Mastery Online's website. Right now, we're offering a 25 to 50% off discount. Use this code right here, Sean2024, and take advantage of that discount. Once those doors open on October 15th, you will have access to everything on that website for the entire length of your subscription. Get after it. Once again, that link is found inside the video description box. On that note, let's get out of here. With that, all the gear of my videos can be found in 2 places. 1, my Amazon affiliate page, and 2, my Etsy store. Both links are found inside my description box. Now, please do me that favor. Hit that like and subscribe button, then ring that notification bell. Once you ring that bell, please select all notifications. And as always, thank you for your comments, views, and support. Thanks for watching. Get out in the field, have some fun. I'm going to catch you next time.